Hope you can hear me. I used to work at an Office Max down the street, which is just as menial as you'd think. Not something you write home about, you know. There was one thing I was proud about. I had 100, 200, 300 customers, and I knew them all by name. I'm very proud of that, actually. We get Bill Olivas coming in for his art prints that he would resell for 300% the value. He once said that he would never do anything unless he could make a 300% profit on it. And there was Diane Fish, who would always come in for her pamphlets for the doctor's offices that she advertised for. I think I met a lot of interesting people there. 300 of them, apparently. The sad thing is the person who I think was the most interesting, I can't remember her name, which is sad. She came in one day printing business cards for a library. Something you don't see very often. That may not be strange to you, but I did a lot of printing. Every Wednesday at the Brook Hollow Library, Wednesday or Thursday, there was a group of storytellers that would get together and tell stories. It was an event, you know. And there were other people in the store, and I shouldn't have done this. But I said, "Do you have a minute? Can I ask you a favor?" And this may be too much. If you don't do it, I understand. And she said, "Sure, what can I do for you?" And I said, "Would you be willing to tell me about your day?" And she looked at me very strangely, and you know, as anyone would, and just kind of asked me, "Why do you care?" And see, I had to explain to this person how important she was, because she didn't know that. Storytellers are interesting. They see the world in what must be a completely different way from me. It's something I'm not very good at. I get caught up in quantities and details that people don't really care about. Only I do, and that's a shortcoming on my part. It happens. What I'm interested in is the vastness of things. When I tell a story, it's usually because I can't believe it, and that's new and exciting to me. I tell stories about... well, it's not important, is the thing. Being at the seashore, seeing so much water at Port Aransas on the Gulf of Mexico. So much water, and again, it's something I don't think about otherwise. But knowing that all that water had to be made in a star, it's a humbling thing, because as large as that ocean is, you can look out, not see the end, and know that it's so vast, it goes around the other side of the planet. You'll never see the end. Or if you do, you won't be able to look back and see where you started. It's vast. I get caught up in that, the innumerability of things. I get caught up in humility. And because of that, I miss the small things. I'm not very good at telling you a story with good descriptions. I mention 3 people, and I tell you what they do, but I can't tell you who they are. I'm not even very good at telling you what they look like. Do you know if Bill Levis is 15 years old or is he 50 years old? But a storyteller. See, these are the kind of people that walk into a crowded room, a loud room, and they don't seem to have a lot to say. And then they do, and then they say something. And this entire room goes silent. It's almost cliche now to think about how a conversation works and how dialogue works. You wait for your turn to add to the dialogue, to have a meaningful conversation where 2 people learn something back and forth, maybe. Or maybe it's not even as important as that. Maybe it's just a way to pass the time. But a storyteller starts speaking, and immediately you have a clear picture in your head of a moment in their life. And I truly do feel blind when I'm next to a good storyteller, because they can explain the world in a way that I don't want to give my input anymore. This whole group of people can go quiet in rapt attention, waiting for the next thing this person has to say. You stop caring about yourself, and you listen as this person gives life to a completely mundane event. And I remember talking to this woman and saying, you take something like life, and it's not even a good thing or a bad thing. It's not a happy story or a sad story until you tell it. And you give it life. You've taken something that's living and made it into something that's alive. And you can tell me about your day, and I'm just going to be asking questions because I want to know more. I want to hear you speak more, because I'm blind. And while you're nearby, just for a moment, just for a very brief amount of time, and only when you're nearby, I can borrow your sight and understand the world in a way I wouldn't have ever done before. And I'm going to cheer for your smallest victories, because you've explained them in such a way that they are as vast as an ocean. And I wish that I could tell an unimportant story. No, I wish that I could tell an important story the way that you tell an unimportant story.